Welcome back to Teresa's Den. My name is Teresa and I'm very much alive. I also look like a Disney villain with acne, so I got that going for me today. Happy Sunday. If you are new here, hi, my name is Teresa. I use colorful language. If you're not into that, that's totally fine. You can exit out of this video and watch one of the other boring ass YouTubers out there. No harm, no foul. Thanks for stopping by. I'm actually gonna put a time code right here, so if you just don't feel like listening to me talk about the weird people I interacted with at a restaurant last night, feel free. You could totally skip to the swatches. I give you 2 looks, as you can tell in my wonderful face, and I'll give you the overall review of the palette. I know I mentioned in a previous video that I enjoy awkward dining experiences. I really do. I fucking live for it. So we went to a restaurant last night and there were 2 instances that were really fucking strange. You know, all the tables were rather close to each other, so we didn't have anybody on this side of us, but we did have like an older couple on this side of us. And I say older, but they were probably like in their 40s, older than me, but not like old, you know what I mean? The woman was sitting on my side and the man was sitting on Alex's side. They were like kind of mumbling and talking, and so I like to just listen to other people's conversation because I'm a nosy ass bitch. And I'm trying to hear what they're saying, and it sounds like the guy is doing a weird cartoon voice. I'm like looking at Alex and I kind of take out my phone and like I'm texting him like, I think he sounds like a cartoon. Now he's trying to listen for it. I don't remember what she asked him, but she kind of like pointed at something like, I guess on the menu, like I guess implying that she was either gonna get it or if they should split it. And the guy just went, oh boy. And it took all the energy inside me not to cry laughing because that was amazing. And the rest of the meal, he talked like that. He's like, oh no, oh, well you see there. And like, he just sounded like Mickey Mouse the whole fucking time. I don't know if it was a thing, maybe he's a voice actor and he was just practicing, or, which is probably the more logical answer, I like to think that he was born like that because that would be fucking amazing. It's just, he didn't break. He literally, everything he did, like, can I get more water please? Like, he just fucking did that. And it was so awesome. Me and Alex, we didn't even say anything. We just kind of were like eating our food and just like trying not to be that nosy, but I'm pretty sure they could tell that we were listening to every fucking word they were saying. It was kind of hard because the restaurant was a little crowded, so I couldn't hear everything, but I would just hear him just go, like, after like a couple of sentences, he would just be like, just, people like that are fucking so precious, and I'm so happy that I get to sit next to them. Thank you, weird Mickey Mouse guy. You're awesome. Maybe I'm the only one here, and maybe I'm the only fucking weirdo here, and please feel free to tell me that in the comments. You ever, oh, maybe I'm just fucked up. I don't know. Listen, hear me out. Have you ever noticed when you see like a young boy, I'm not gonna say young boy like 10, more like a teenager, like 15, 16 years old, and they're always with an older woman, and you could tell that they're not their mom? Are you like me, and do you question if they're in a relationship? You know what I mean? So I feel like I see this really frequently, and it feels weird. Like the whole thing feels weird. Like, you know, when you're, when you see someone with their mother or their aunt or whatever, or some sort of like parental figure, it's, you know, like you can tell. This was a little weird. Like there was like a lot of like kind of weird hand holding. Like they would just kind of really be close to each other talking. Like it was just like almost too sexy. And then it made me go, oh God, I feel like I should be on a list somewhere. You know what I mean? In all reality, you know, maybe they are related, but like that was just really weird. Like for example, like he would have his hand on the table and she would kind of like put her hand on top of his and like just do this and then like let go. I've never seen any moms do that ever. And it was just weird though, but like they weren't overly acting like kissy or like, you know, footsie or shit under the table. He would kind of reach over the table and like kind of grab her forearm and like kind of like rub her forearm. I don't know, I've never seen people do that before. And it kept throwing me off because I was like, you know, hey, maybe this dude's like 18 and she's just like this crazy ass cool cougar, you know, whatever, and hey, fucking kudos to you. But it was like, I don't know if you're 18, sir. It was a little weird. Anyway, maybe I'm the fucked up one. I'm like inventing things, but no, I'm pretty sure they were fucking. And the whole time, besides listening to the Mickey Mouse couple, Alex would just be like, stop staring at them. And I'd be like, can't help it, I need to know. I need to know if they're dating or related. Like, I need to know. I don't know. When we were leaving, they were literally spoon feeding each other dessert, so God only knows. So hey, hit that like button if you think they're related, or hit that like button if you think they were dating. Today what we're going to be talking about is the Jaclyn Hill Dark Magic Palette. If you haven't seen my video about Armed and Gorgeous, I will link it up here, so feel free to go check it out. And of course, I'll be making separate videos on Bling Boss and Ring the Alarm. Now, the reason why I did a video today about the Dark Magic Palette is because this was the second palette that I was super interested in. So before I get into the whole palette thing, let me fucking tell you, because I actually initially said this in my first video, but then I cut it out because I really want to make these videos like less than 15 minutes because they're, you know, they're 4 different palettes and I don't want to like drone on and on and on. Moral of the story is when I was actually in New Jersey last weekend, some Ulta locations that have Morphe actually had the Jaclyn Hill palettes in the store. So I was really excited because although while I ordered my palettes from Morphe.com, I really wanted to see them in the store. There were 3 Ultas where I was staying. So I went to the Ulta in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. When I went in there, the only palette they actually had available to buy was the Dark Magic palette. All the other palettes were completely sold out. And the Dark Magic was actually fully stocked, which makes me believe I think maybe this might be everyone's least favorite. I think that's kind of how I felt in that Ulta, was that nobody gave a shit about this palette and everybody cared about the other palettes. Which is kind of crazy because I think these greens are very beautiful, but whatever, that's neither here or there at this point. They did have tester palettes out. I wish I had footage of this, but I don't. I didn't think to tape this. But when I was touching the Armed and Gorgeous and the Dark Magic palette, the swatches were fucking terrible. Terrible. Like, they were so soft. There was pigment on your finger, but when you swatched it on your arm, literally nothing showed up. It was worse than streaky. It was nothing was there. And I didn't understand what kind of cruel fucking magic trick this was, but it just didn't make sense to me. I immediately fucking regretted purchasing any of these palettes because I was thinking to myself, oh my god, all of this repressing shit is bullshit. If this is gonna be the quality that I get, I don't want any of it. Then I did some further research and further digging, and I found, I think Here for the Tea, which is a hilarious drama channel. Now, granted, I don't know the full detail. I'm not a bone collector, so I don't really know a lot, so I could be talking out of my ass, but I think she said something like, the true reason why it was recalled is because Becca was going to sue. It was either like the font or the logo on the packaging, which then made me think, oh my god, like, that could be a huge possibility. Maybe these palettes that people were having issues with are really the palettes that we're receiving, and this whole thing about repressing and all this stuff is not true. It was all because of a lawsuit. So then it kind of made me feel a little nauseous because I watched a bunch of YouTubers out there actually review this palette when it first came out, and a lot of people were having trouble with them. Like, god, there's this one girl, she's so talented, Angela Bright. She was having issues. I think Jaclyn was having issues. I don't know. There was a lot of people that were having said issues, and maybe like 1 or 2 people that had positive reviews, but then it kind of makes you question if it's truly positive or if they're doing that for PR. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? So I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys because I have nothing to fucking lose here. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. With that said, basically all the palettes look exactly the same, and the whole idea is that you get a nice little mirror and you get the shade names in the palette as opposed to the original palette that didn't have either one of those things. I think in this palette, it appears that you get 6 matte shades, 3 shimmers, and like 1 matte with glitter pressed into it. I don't know. This Temptress shade actually reminds me very much of the Dose of Colors black, except the glitter in this one is way more manageable than the glitter in that fucking shit show palette. I created these 2 looks. I'm not upset with these 2 looks, but it took way more time than I would care to admit to create these looks because this palette is fucking messy. It's so messy because I didn't have this experience with the Armed and Gorgeous palette at all. There was a bunch of fallout I experienced in this palette that I didn't experience in that palette, so the formula is a little bit weird. The shimmers, if you use them dry, they like burst into a supernova of fucking sparkle all over your face, where again, I look like I fucked a fairy, but when I used it with a wet brush, it was okay. It actually stayed intact. I had no issues with Poof. Poof literally is the color of my skin, so actually I liked using it to set my eyeshadow primer, so that was fine. The color Shh and the color Moho were fine. I was able to use them without any issue. They blended perfectly together. It worked out very well. I enjoyed using those 2 shades. Potion I had high hopes for because it's such a pretty olive green. I love olive green so much. I think that's probably my favorite color in the whole entire world. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. And it was a little patchy, a little streaky. I think my issue with it is I felt like it lacked a lot of pigment. Like I had to use a lot of it to build it up. It doesn't look pretty. I want to show you a comparison actually of olive green with the Jeffree Star Androgyny olive green, which is in the shade Military. I love this palette. I think it's such a great palette. I picked it up when I was at RuPaul's Drag Con last year. All right, that's that one. So, swatching this. Ooh, bitch. Oh, I'm not even fucking around because literally I have nothing to lose here. So you can see it's pretty weak. You guys, is that's working with that particular shade. It just wasn't good. It sucked. It wasn't my favorite by any means. So for me, the worst shade in this palette is actually Busted, because Busted, you can't blend. You cannot blend at all. I tried and it would blend into nothing, and then it would just look like a Smurf just shit on my face. I fucking hated it. And it's so messy. It's so incredibly messy. So the best that I could do is literally just place it on ever so slightly, much like Subculture, and hope for the best. However, when it's starting to lose like color, it starts to kind of break down, and then you see how harsh the line is. I can't diffuse it. And I really tried my best to diffuse that line, and it just did not work, and I didn't know why. So that bummed me out. While it doesn't look terrible, this eye, it took way too fucking long to create this eye look. Like embarrassingly long, and it was so messy, and there was just a lot of fallout. I didn't like it, and it makes me not want to gravitate towards that shade in this palette at all. Essentially, I'm not going to be touching these two colors in this palette. Other than those two colors and the shimmers acting really shitty dry, I didn't have any other issues with this palette. The palette worked fine. I actually liked my experience with Armed and Gorgeous better than this palette, which kind of sucks because I was really hoping that this palette would work, but I don't think I'll be reaching for this palette anytime soon at all, really. And actually, I want to go back to my point that I was actually making earlier about swatching this shit in Ulta, is that when I swatched both Dark Magic and Armed and Gorgeous, they were fine. They were way better than what I experienced in that Ulta store. So I don't know what palettes Ulta was selling. I have no idea. Again, this is all like one big Shane Dawson conspiracy theory at this point. Not the same quality as what I touched in the store versus what I'm touching here in my house. I'm curious to try the other palettes and see if the quality gets a little bit better than this one, but I don't think I can recommend this one to you. I don't think it's that good. It's just a lot of work to get there, and there are so many other palettes out there that can give you far better quality and experience and a shorter fucking time than this palette. So if you didn't buy the vault and you were looking at palettes individually, don't buy this palette. But of course, if you do have this palette, or if you're still planning to buy this palette, or whatever the case may be, as we all know, makeup is completely subjective, so my experience could be very different from yours. So please let me know down below if you had this palette and you had a similar experience or you had a completely different experience, because I'm really curious to know. I think with just all the shade and weird drama surrounding this palette, if it is true and there was no way that they were able to repress the formula and make it better and make it consistent with the quality of her original palette, then that's truly fucked up. And then it would really kind of makes me question whether or not I want to purchase anything from Morphe in the future. I'm just gonna say that. So I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, it's free, and hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. And follow me on Instagram. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.